Good day, everyone. Today, we will be looking at normal CT or computed tomography anatomy of the brain. We would like to thank Radiopedia for this wonderful CAT scan of a normal brain. How this will go is we will look at the brain from axial slices. We will start first caudally to cranially, meaning from bottom to top. And then we'll look at the brain again in reverse, from top to bottom. Important structures are pre-labeled, such as we can see here in this slice, and we will attempt to label these structures. So let's start. Starting first, caudally. Number one here, the largest of the skull bases foramina is the foramen magnum. Number two is the medulla oblongata, which is the most inferior of the three parts of the brainstem. Let's go up. Cranially, number three is the vertebral artery. Four is the cerebellar tonsil. Moving up further, five is the premedullary cistern. The premedullary cistern. And six here coming into view is the internal jugular vein. We must note that the CT in front of us is non-contrast. If this were contrast images, we would see that the arteries and veins would light up. But this is a non-contrast scan. Number seven, this is the basilar artery. The basilar artery. And eight is the sigmoid sinus. The sigmoid sinus. Moving up further still, 9 is the petrous part of the internal carotid artery as it lies in the carotid canal. We will make a separate video highlighting the different parts of the internal carotid artery as it passes into the brain. And number 10 here is one of the two cerebellar hemispheres. This is the right cerebellar hemisphere, and this is the left cerebellar hemisphere. 11 is the external auditory canal. The external auditory canal, or the EAC. 12 is the foramen of Magendie. The foramen of Magendie. 13, this is the superior orbital fissure. The superior orbital fissure. 14 is Meckel's cave. Meckel's cave. And 15 here is the foramen of Luschka. The foramen of Luschka. 16 here, we encounter this midline bony structure. This is the crista galli. 16 is the crista galli. 17, coming into view, this is the pituitary fossa, which, as the name suggests, seats or houses the pituitary gland. 18, this is already the pons. The medulla oblongata inferiorly has already ended, and we now encounter the second of the three parts of the brainstem, which is the pons. Moving superiorly still, moving more cranially, we encounter number 19 here, the gyrus rectus. This is the gyrus rectus. And 20 is the cavernous portion of the internal carotid artery. 20 is the cavernous portion of the internal carotid artery. 21 is the left temporal pole. 22, this space here, this dark space is the prepontine cistern, meaning it's a space in front of the pons because this is the pons. 23 is the middle cerebellar peduncle. the middle cerebellar peduncle. We move even more superiorly. 24, this is the uncus. 25, the temporal horn of the lateral ventricle. 26 is the fourth ventricle. And 27 is what we call the nodule of the cerebellum. So we are now more or less midline of the brain. We are midway. 28 is the middle cerebral artery. The middle cerebral artery. Again, this is a non-contrast scan, but if this were contrast, we would expect this structure to, of course, light up. 29 here, in the center, is the suprasellar cistern. And number 30 here is the tentorium cerebelli, which literally translates to the tent or the roof of the cerebellum. Moving superiorly still, we encounter the interpeduncular cistern. This is the interpeduncular cistern. 32 here is the cerebral crus or the cerebral peduncle. This space here is the Sylvian fissure. This is the Sylvian fissure. 34 are the mammillary bodies. One of the two mammillary bodies over here. 34. 35 in the midline, this is the median interhemispheric fissure. And 36 is the midbrain. This is the midbrain. We move superiorly still to encounter this space here more posteriorly. This space is CSF or cerebrospinal fluid filled. This is the ambient cistern. And 38 here is the cerebral aqueduct of Sylvius. This is the cerebral aqueduct of Sylvius. 38, this is the third ventricle. And 40 is the inferior colliculus. And 41, more posteriorly, this is the torcula herophili, also known as the confluence of the sinuses. Again, the torcula herophili, number 41. 42 here, this is the anterior limb of the internal capsule. The anterior limb. We remember that the internal capsule more or less resembles a boomerang. The anterior part, the anterior limb of the boomerang here, as the name suggests, is therefore the anterior limb of the internal capsule. 43, this is the interventricular foramen of Monro, the foramen of Monro, 43. And 44 is the insular cortex, the insular cortex. Moving more superiorly, we encounter 46. This is the genu of the corpus callosum. The genu, meaning the head of the corpus callosum. 47, this is the left frontal horn of the lateral ventricle. Of course, the other side is the right frontal horn of the lateral ventricle. 48, this darker structure here, 48 is the genu of the internal capsule. And 49, this CSF space here is the quadrigeminal cistern. The quadrigeminal cistern. 50, in CT parlance, any structure that is bright, we call it hyperdense, and if it's dark, it's hypodense. This hyperdense structure here, number 50, is the head of the caudate nucleus. 51, another hyperdense structure. 51 is the lentiform nucleus. And 52 here is the pineal gland. We can see that it is very much hyperdense at the center of the pineal gland. This is because of the presence of what we call brain sand, also known as corpora arenacea. Corpora arenacea, aka brain sand, is contained in the pineal gland, which gives it a hyperdense appearance on CT. 53 posteriorly, this is the superior vermis of the cerebellum. 54 in the midline is the column of the fornix. 55, this is the posterior limb of the internal capsule. 56, this is the internal cerebral vein. And 57, posteriorly midline, this is the straight sinus. The straight sinus. 58 is the cingulate gyrus, and in the midline, number 59, this is the septum pellucidum. The septum pellucidum. Number 60 here, in the center is the thalamus. Okay, this is the thalamus. 61 is the forceps minor. 62, this is the trigone or the atrium of the lateral ventricle. And 63, posteriorly, in the occiput, is of course the occipital lobe. The occipital lobe. We are now nearing the calvarium or the tip of the skull. We are more cranially now. 64 is the splenium, meaning the tail. This is the splenium of the corpus callosum. And 65 is the occipital horn of the lateral ventricle. The occipital horn of the lateral ventricle. 66 here is the body of the lateral ventricle. The body of the lateral ventricle. And 67, we can see in the midst of the CSF here some hyperdense linear structure. This hyperdense linear structure is actually the choroid plexus. And the choroid plexus is the structure responsible for producing CSF. 68 here is the forceps major. And 69 in the midline, we have the inferior sagittal sinus. 70, this is the body of the corpus callosum. The body of the corpus callosum. 71, we encounter a hypodense ovoid structure here. This is the centrum semiovale. The centrum semiovale. We are now moving even more superiorly towards the tip of the skull, the calvarium. 72 here, we encounter the central sulcus of Rolando. The central sulcus of Rolando is the sulcus or the division between the frontal and the parietal lobes. And 73 here is what we call the hand bump of the precentral gyrus. The precentral gyrus is, of course, the primary motor cortex. 74 here, we see the marginal sulcus. The marginal sulcus is also known as the pars marginalis. And 75 is the superior sagittal sinus. The superior sagittal sinus. Superiorly, running through the midline is the falx cerebri. This is the falx cerebri. Let's do it again, this time in reverse. Cranially to caudally, very quickly now, cranially to caudally. Again, here we encounter the falx cerebri, number 76. 74 is the pars marginalis, and 75 is the superior sagittal sinus. 72 is the central sulcus of Rolando, and 73 is the hand bump of the precentral gyrus. we are moving caudally. We are moving caudally. 71, we encounter again the centrum semi-ovale. We begin to encounter the CSF filled lateral ventricles. But first, number 70, this is the body of the corpus callosum. 69 is the inferior sagittal sinus. 68 is the forceps major, 67 is the choroid plexus within number 66, the body of the lateral ventricle. 64 is the splenium, meaning the tail of the corpus callosum, and 65 is the occipital horn of the lateral ventricle. 61, this is the forceps minor. 62 is the trigone or the atrium of the lateral ventricle. And 63 is the occipital lobe. 58, this is the cingulate gyrus. 59 is the septum pellucidum. And 60 is the thalamus. We are now moving even more caudally, entering the midline of the brain. 54 is the column of the fornix. 55 is the posterior limb of the internal capsule, remembering that the internal capsule is boomerang shaped. 56, this is the internal cerebral vein. 57 is the straight sinus, Number 50, this is the head of the caudate nucleus. And 51 is the lentiform nucleus. 52, filled with brain sand, this is the pineal gland. And posterior to it, we have the superior vermis of the cerebellum. Number 46, we have the genu, meaning head of the corpus callosum. 47 is the frontal horn of the lateral ventricle. And 48, we have the genu, meaning the head of the internal capsule. This CSF-filled space here, posteriorly, is the quadrigeminal cistern. Number 42, we have the anterior limb of the internal capsule. 43, in the midline, we encounter the interventricular foramen of Monro. And 44, we have the insular cortex. Posteriorly, we also encounter the transverse sinus, this linear, hyperdense structure over here, the transverse sinus. Moving more caudally, number 39, this is the third ventricle. Number 40, this is the inferior colliculus. And 41, this is the confluence of the sinuses. And of course, we call the confluence of the sinuses the torcula herophili. Number 37, this is the ambient cistern. And 38, we have the cerebral aqueduct of Sylvius. Number 35 is the median interhemispheric fissure. And 36, we have the midbrain. This is the most superior of the three parts of the brainstem. This is the midbrain. Moving more caudally still, number 33, the sylvian fissure. And 34, we have the mammillary bodies. 31 is the interpeduncular cistern. And 32, we have the cerebral crus or the cerebral peduncle. Number 28, this is the middle cerebral artery. The CSF-filled space over here is the suprasellar cistern. And 30 is the tentorium cerebellum. Number 24, this is the uncus, Okay. 25 is the temporal horn of the lateral ventricle. 26, we encounter the fourth ventricle, and this nodular protrusion over here is the nodule of the cerebellum. 21 is the left temporal pole. This is the left temporal pole. 22 is the prepontine cistern, the CSF filled cistern or space in front of the pons. And 23, this is the middle cerebellar peduncle, the middle cerebellar peduncle. Number 19, we encounter the gyrus rectus. And 20, this is the cavernous portion of the internal carotid artery. The cavernous portion of the internal carotid arteries. This hyperdense midline structure over here, 16 is the crista galli. 17, of course, housing the pituitary gland, we have the pituitary fossa. And 18, the middle, the second of the three parts of the brainstem, we have the pons. Moving more caudally still, number 13 here is the superior orbital fissure or the SOF. Number 14, this hypodense structure here is Meckel's cave. And 15, we have the foramen of Luschka. Number 11, this is the external auditory canal. This is the EAC. And of course, number 12 here, we have the foramen of Magendie. We're moving even more caudally now to enter the skull base. Number 9 here is the petrous portion of the internal carotid artery. And number 10, this is the cerebellar hemisphere. Moving more caudally still, number 7, this is the basilar artery. Number 8, we encounter the sigmoid sinus. This is the sigmoid sinus. Number 5, this CSF-filled space, this cistern in front of the medulla. This is the premedullary cistern. And number 6, we have the IJV, the internal jugular vein. Number 3, we have the vertebral artery, specifically the right vertebral artery. This one is the left vertebral artery. Number 4 here is the left cerebellar tonsil. And finally, number 1, the largest of the foramina, the foramen magnum, and the most inferior of the three parts of the brainstem, we have the medulla oblongata.